Today I'm going back to basics with the GELLI plate, printing weeds in cardboard boxes and working them out. Hello print fans! I know you're used to me making rather sophisticated prints. Is that totally vain to say? But today I pulled out some weeds in the garden. I felt like printing them with my resist sprays and making basic prints that I only work out a little. Especially looking forward to these that I've never seen before in my garden. So it's not the obvious big flowers for big hair I'm printing today, like in the videos about my mom's portrait, but the small weeds, which are in German called something like pest plants. The German word is Unkraut. You get that? Kraut and Unkraut. My neighbors take them out all the time and give them to me for printing. There is no such thing as an Unkraut. But only an artist knows, because he knows the world better. Before I get any more silly, let's go to work. And this is exactly the point when I noticed that a little disaster is happening here. You see that? The resist spray was obviously not closed correctly by the artist, and so I lost almost all of the expensive spray bottle. Here there are some cardboard boxes that I want to print with the weeds, hoping for a good contrast of man-made items versus natural items, if that makes any sense. These two I have used before, lovely little flower bands and the heart-shaped box. And I'd like to see if the resist spray also makes nice cotton impressions. I'm printing today on Fabriano sketch paper again. Size is roughly about 8 by 12 inches, in German size A4, and it has 90 GSM, but it is quite sturdy with watery paint. Making the best out of the lost bottle by squeezing the paint out of the kitchen tissue onto the GELLI plate. It is a lot like watercolor, but you can't clean it off as easily, which I knew before, and my hands are now all covered in paint. Do you have that too, when you're proud of how dirty your hands get when you're painting? Sometimes I don't wash my hand totally when I go out to show that I've created something, and this is rather silly. Anyway, I'm printing these watery paint blobs now, and like watercolor, it makes nice blobby shapes. I especially like the color palette of the resist sprays. Rusty tones and weed and forest colors. Lovely. I let the paint run a bit for some interest. On this background, I want to print some more by printing the weeds with acrylic paint. As usual, I'm using the Golden Open slow drying paints, but you can use any acrylic paint, I would say. So I'm starting with the lovely weed-like weedies. My God, they're so cute. Then I'm pressing on the chocolate box, but failed to use the front side, so I won't get any of the flower band. Printing this on top of the vintage photo blobs. Note that I'm not registering exactly, as I like it when the prints are a little off. And that's exactly what it does here. The weeds and the box haven't made much marks. That's because this brown color is very transparent. This is funny. To me, it seems to have made a Europe shape, and I'm tempted to make a map out of it. This here is the Netherlands, here's Germany, and Denmark above. It's just strange that Britain and Ireland are suddenly attached to each other and to the continent. It's a political print. Okay, stop being silly, Tina. I work out the plants with the dark pencil, giving them shadows as I always do. Then I use the ivory colored pencil for highlights. I want the shadows to be more intense and darker, so I do that with a Micron pen in sepia. And now I'm thinking, I want the highlights to be lighter, and I do that with a Posca pen in white. And I immediately regret that, as the highlights are too high now, I think. Bummer. The outcome is so naya, but I will probably like it better when I look at it again later. This is now the vintage photo spray again, which I still have a rest of in the bottle, and I mix it with a fossilized amber, which is really just a nice yellow. Randomly sprayed out, it also makes a nice background for further development. I also want to have these weeds on it. Sorry, didn't film the rolling out of the phthalo blue here. After taking off the excess color, it leaves a lovely, delicate plant print with a halo around the plant. Pressing on the background print, and it turned out exactly as I've planned it, which is not often the case. Lovely print, which needs just a tiny bit of workout. Strengthening the stems a bit with blue, but I won't touch the delicate halos. I love it when I can lead the plant outline to the outside and then continue it as a thin frame, just scattering a bit and leaving some lines free. Now for some shadows in the yellow-brown area, and this one's done. Printing another background with spraying the color green moss, which turns out to be rather yellow than green. Like it very much though. Put it on the same weeds again and pressing down to take excess color off. Generally, the resist sprays cannot really pick up an exact shape like the acrylics or etching inks can, but this background is nevertheless shaped in a very interesting way. I'm tempted to leave it like that, but then I want to try the textured resist spray. It shifts the paint around and has some nice effects, but in the end, after it's dried, I don't like the creamy thick blobs it produces. This is the intermediate result, and I want to add a clearer stem print using acrylics again and an opaque color this time. This is only the pickup sheet, but I will develop this one too in the next video. Now I have to carefully remove the little whatever they're called, and the remains on the gel plate look promising. Now printing that, and as the normal acrylic paint has already dried, I pick up more using acrylic matte medium. See, that would not happen with the open slow drying acrylics. I don't mind a little matte medium, but it's harder to draw on with the color pencils later. I'm speeding this up quite a bit. I'm only enhancing the stems and the white areas a bit, and that's all I do. This is all for today, as I need some more time to finish the other prints. Especially this one, which is hopefully changing into a nice collage. So these will come up next week. As we Berliners say, tschö mit Ö. See you next week.